hit play. I'm Isaac Jimenez. That is James Harding. James, what's going on, man?
Doing good.
Doing good?
Still recovering.
Yeah. You got
from surgery.
You got your wisdom teeth removed, right?
I got my wisdom teeth. Probably later in life than is prudent, but
Hey, at least you got them.
had to have.
At least you got them taken out. I still have mine in.
True.
And I just actually went to the dentist, and they said that I'm probably never gonna have to take mine out, which is kind of cool.
Not bad. Hey, I know people who have no wisdom teeth whatsoever, so you know, it exists. Some people are just that lucky.
How was the procedure? How would you rate it? One through 10.
I mean, I was out the whole time. They put me under, man. I don't remember anything.
Did you say anything crazy while you were on the laughing gas?
Apparently not. I was from
Nice.
Post-surgery. I was pretty conscious the whole way through.
That's cool.
I definitely could not have driven myself though.
Yeah.
No, I think it went well. Here's a big problem though, is that they don't give you painkillers like Vicodin or Oxycodone. What they did was they gave me a non-opioid injection on my gums. And so as time has passed and that numb injection has
gotten worse and worse.
It's gotten slowly worse and worse.
You're turning into,
as my teeth heal and get better and better.
Turning into a painkiller addict on me.
Yeah. No, that's why they do the injection, to avoid becoming a painkiller.
Oh, okay.
You just got to suffer through it.
Interesting.
I know. Well, how about you? How are you handling the heat?
Dude, it's hot. Well, I mean, it's probably not as hot as Arizona is, but it's getting pretty warm. It's starting to hit the hundreds pretty consistently. So.
Yikes.
Like, it peaks at the hundreds. Like during the middle of the day, it'll hit 100 for a little bit. But
you're not having any like power grid issues, are you?
No. I read the news that they want everybody to keep their houses at 78, but I'm like, you're crazy. Nobody's gonna keep their house at 78 in the middle of the summer. I should have. It's so stupid, but no, we haven't had any issues or anything, so that I know of at least.
Not bad.
But summer's still young.
That you know of.
Anyways,
not bad.
Enough about our lives. People don't tune in to listen to us talk about our lives.
Yeah, we're turning it into an actual podcast now.
Yeah, with no structure. Is this the Joe Rogan experience? No, I'm just.
No.
So this week we're breaking down a TV show that I think you and I were both. Well, I think you were more excited to watch this than I was because you kept bringing it up to me for like a month, and I was like, no, I don't want to watch a TV show right now. That is Invincibles, the new Amazon superhero show, based off of the Robert Kirkman graphic comic book, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, the graphic comic.
Yeah. Premiered a couple months ago, March 25th, 2021. Any opening thoughts on it? I have my own, but I was wondering if you wanted to lead the way.
You want to know mine?
Yeah.
I liked it. And I mean, I knew some stuff about the comic beforehand. Not like major plot spoilers, although I do know some of those.
Mm-hmm.
But generally the vibe of the show, I knew what it was like. So I was excited to watch it to see, because even before I watched it, I was like, okay, judging by the style of animation, I was already super curious how they were going to handle certain elements of the show, particularly, and this is not a spoiler, I should say, but particularly the fighting and the violence in the show.
Yeah.
And that right away was what made me kind of a little hyped to watch it, because I was like, how are they going to... It almost looks like the animation is a little stilted, but yeah, I knew it was going to be like gruesomely violent. I was curious, how are they going to pull that off? And I think they did fairly okay, I'd say.
Yeah, I would agree. I think watching this after all of the hype died down, I think it kind of enhanced my viewing experience, because if I watched it during the hype, I think I would have been like, this isn't that good, guys. Like, come on, we could do better. And it definitely has its flaws, which I think we'll get into a little bit. But it was a good watch. I watched this all in 2 days. I watched 5 episodes in one night. Stayed up till like 3 in the morning finishing it. So anytime I do that, I think that's a good barometer for TV shows. Because if I like a show, I'll just end up watching like 7 episodes in one day. But it is a good watch, and I was very happy that it was an easy watch. I think a lot of shows, especially with streaming services, they like to throw in this, like, there's always like a twist or like a shtick that every show has. And if it's like, okay, do we really need to do that? Like why can't we just be a show? Like, every show wants to try and be smart. And I'm not saying this show is dumb or anything. I think it's a very well-crafted show. But it was nice to just put the TV on, and like if I had to go to my phone real quick to look at something, or like I could go eat, or looking away from the TV for like a split second, I didn't feel like I missed anything huge. Just because it doesn't demand a big viewing experience. Go ahead.
What are your thoughts on it being hour episodes, but it's an animated show? Because those are very uncommon.
Yeah,
I can't even think of another example.
When I saw that it was 45 minutes, I was like, what the? And I was a little turned off by it, but I honestly felt like the show could have been an extra 4 episodes. I feel like
I would agree.
At times it felt a little bit compressed, especially towards the middle of the episodes. But I mean, these are all issues that first seasons usually have, is because you have to set up so much that you kind of you can't really waste time like showing stuff that like the universe kind of stuff where you're building the world, especially when a show is only 8 episodes at 45 minutes apiece. But I thought it was good. I didn't think, at no point did I think like this should be a 30-minute show. I think the 42 to 49 is a good amount of time. But yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. Did you?
No, I thought they actually did it pretty well, because they avoided, not that the comic has filler, but I didn't feel like there was any filler in the show. And I feel like each episode was paced pretty well. Certainly, I could tell they have a habit that they're going to like, at the end of the episodes is when they're going to throw all those big stuff at you.
Yeah,
so they get, they keep up the pace towards the end of the episodes, but I thought they pulled it off pretty well. And I think it actually, in a way, enhanced watching it. I don't know if you feel this way, but in a weird way, like, it makes more sense to watch more episodes of a show if the episodes are longer than it does to watch more episodes if the episodes are shorter, because I feel like time goes by faster if there are shorter episodes and you're more aware of time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was like the last episode, it was 8 months difference between the first episode, and yet we didn't really feel that. No. And that's why I'm like, we could have gotten at least another 4 episodes, right? Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Because the way that normal network and cable television shows is, they'll do like, if they do like a 10 to 12 to 14, whatever, they'll usually throw an episode or 2 around a holiday to signify like, oh, this is, this time of the day and whatever.
Yeah.
And especially for a show that takes place with a high schooler, you would kind of feel like there would be like a homecoming episode or a prom episode. And we kind of got that with the college visit episode, which, it's minor spoiler, but I never got a sense of time. Like, you could have told me this all took place in a week, or you could have told me this all took place in a year and a half or something, and I would have believed you. Either like between those 2 frames or time frames, I would have believed you. And yeah.
No, I'd agree with that. I think internally the show has weird pacing. It is hard to tell. I mean, I didn't even really think about that until you brought it up because I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. How much time passed in between these episodes? there's there's absolutely no indication.
Yeah.
And with it being animated, you can't just tell based off
Mm-hmm.
of like wearing different clothes or something
Or
like
just
that.
characters growing their hair out or something,
Yeah,
right?
something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Let
But I
me ask.
mean,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh yeah, you go. I was gonna say it doesn't really matter too much anyway.
No, no, not at all.
In the grand scheme of things, no.
Yeah, that's just a minor nitpick. It's not like this did not ruin my viewing experience at whatsoever. It was just a thing that would have been cool to see because every other show does it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. So this is a very, very star-studded cast. Steven Yeun is playing the title character. We got Sandra Oh, J.K. Simmons as his parents, Gillian Jacobs from Community, Walter Goggins. We got Zachary Quinto, Jason Mantzoukas. So a lot of well-known names. Mark Hamill makes an appearance. Ezra Miller makes an appearance. Zazie Beetz is a well-known character in the show. John Hamm is a character. So this is a very star-studded animated show. How do you feel about the voice acting? Because usually when a show relies heavily on the stars of the voice actors, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, possibly.
And I want to know your opinion if you think the voice acting was worth the name recognition.
Well, I love Steven Yeun, and I will watch pretty much everything that he's in. But I feel like maybe it's because he's not really a voice actor. He's mostly just a normal actor, I feel like he probably was the weakest part.
Interesting. Because I think, for me, the weakest one was Gillian Jacobs as Adam Eve. Some of her lines, I'm just like, man, you are really, like, this is... She's either super flat as a board or she's super emotional. There's, like, no nuance with her.
Well, how much of that is the character and how much of that is the voice acting?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah.
Because I think my complaints about Steve Ewan somewhat come down to the character, where most of what Mark Grayson says is like, no, don't do that. No, what are you doing that for? No. And that's like 90% of his dialogue.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's hard to sell that.
It is also based off a comic book, so they're still kind of trying to trim that comic book fat of, cheesy one-liners and always having to narrate everything that's going on in action sequences. Did you have any problems with, you kind of mentioned it earlier, with the violence because this is a very, very violent show. Do you have any problems with the violence? Do you think it was maybe a little too gratuitous at times or grotesque?
I mean, not really. Like I knew beforehand because that was one of those things that was always kind of the shtick of Invincible, you know. Like the fact that it would be as brightly colored as it is, like Sunday cartoon type of primary colors, and then people would just get chopped in half, and you're like, oh, geez. That was always kind of the point of the comic. And because of that, I didn't mind it at all. I feel like the only parts where I did mind it was in episode 1. Because it's one of those things where you can tell it's the first episode. People who have never heard of the comic or never even read it, they're going to want to get you. They want to hit you with it. You're unsuspecting, which I think everyone suspects it at this point, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
But when it happens in episode 1, you're just like,
what is going on?
Well, how did you feel about that? What was your reaction?
I wasn't a fan. I'm not a big fan of the violence. I'll be honest. There were times where I had to like physically turn away from the TV or look away at times because it was just, I feel like it was overdone at times, and I understand what they're trying to do, and they're trying to make like a more grown up, realistic version of what superheroes do and like the consequences of some of their actions.
Like if a superhero can crush a guy's head, he's gonna crush a guy's head.
Yeah.
And it's gonna look like that.
I'm not faulting the creators for doing it. I understand why they're doing it. That's not my personal taste. So it was at times it was a little rough, but I mean I got through it.
I also think and I think another thing that's kind of detrimental is how they really pack it on in episode 1, and then it never gets that violent again.
Yeah.
Not until the last episode, but then again, you're probably, by that point, you're probably with it.
Yeah.
But what did you think of the overall animation quality? Like, some people, and I have in the past been a big snob about this, like, in the past, anytime I would see CGI animation, I would roll my eyes and be like, oh, what can you do? But how did you feel about the overall quality of the animation? Because I feel like for a superhero show, it was very like it rode this line between being okay and being like, I was almost thinking, is this like under budget or something like this?
Yeah.
Almost under animated.
Yeah. Well, there's some shots, and it's not in every shot, but there are some shots where they switch to 3D animation. I'm like, this looks so bad. Why did I understand why they're trying to cut costs, but I don't know. At times it was like, oh my god, this is the greatest animated show of all time, and then sometimes it would be like, this isn't even better than Jurassic Park. Like, this is garbage.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
I think it's also because it was mostly exteriors. It was like buildings.
Yeah,
they would
yeah, and it always looks weird whenever they try and do that with 2D characters. I don't mind the animation. I think animation is so hard to get that it takes a couple years to get. I mean, people are still complaining about Attack on Titan's animation, and Attack on Titan has been going on for like 6 years, 7 years already. So
true.
It's very, very difficult to kind of nail it. But other than like one or two eyesores, I thought it was okay.
I think in a weird way too, it kind of helped because it what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it disarms you,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's interesting too because the more like chillax scenes, those are very, very stiff.
Yeah.
And in contrast, the action sequences are so balls to the walls that it almost kind of helps the show in a way, because you kind of see like Mark Grayson.
You can tell where they're saving money.
Yeah, well, that too. But you can see Mark Grayson's like, I don't know, lifestyles choice. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too. I'm becoming an English lit teacher with this podcast.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
always reading into it too much. Yeah. Any other complaints with the show? I think those were my main two. Was the violence and the animation at times. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I think my biggest complaints would be the animation and, in a weird way, even the story. I think we could have used a few more episodes.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, it's a first season, so I'm not gonna fault them too much. I mean, I think I have a lot of minor things as far as like story structure and narrative and character and stuff. But I mean, it's a first season. These are all issues that a first season is supposed to have, and so I think because I was able to go through, well, me personally, I think being able to go through all 8 episodes and being like, you know what, I think I could see more. I think it did its job. I could see, hopefully not 13 seasons or whatever the hell The Walking Dead has now, but I'll be down for like 5 more.
If they're short seasons, I don't know if you feel this way, but I actually really like short season stuff.
I do
that, British series style, 6 episodes a season or what have you.
Yeah.
I like that. and I hope it becomes a trend in America. Because I see a lot of shows already have like 10 episodes per season, and I'm like, not bad, not bad. But we can do better.
Yeah, hopefully they don't do that stupid thing where they split the last season into two. I hate when networks do that. I understand why they do it. It's just so stupid. I don't know. This is old man me looking at the wind and yelling, shooting the wind with my shotgun.
I would just hope that, if they keep it to low episode counts, if they keep doing 8 or so episodes a season, it would probably only be like 4 seasons long. And I would appreciate that more than anything, because to me at least, that's a good indication that they care about the story and not just about, keeping your attention. They're not just going to throw the filler in there or what have you. They're actually trying to tell the complete story.
Yeah.
Which The Walking Dead horribly went in the other direction.
Does not know. Well, it's kind of interesting too, because Invincible came out before The Walking Dead, so I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Or at least as far as the graphic novel. So I'm wondering, is Invincible going to have the same issue that The Walking Dead has when they? Because I mean, Invincible had a long run as a graphic novel as well. I believe from 03 to 19 or something like that. 2018.
Yeah, 18.
Walking Dead had a similar run,
and I'll tell you why. Because Robert Kirkman is actually the showrunner for this, as opposed to The Walking Dead. And then you had the problem where like he was kind of writing the comic as the show was coming out, so you had a bit of that weird Game of Thrones, like,
he's got to finish.
How are they gonna outpace each other?
Yeah.
So I think with him if he continues to be the showrunner on this, I think he will. I mean, he's basically adapting his own comic, and he knows at this point he should know
how it works,
what's the important stuff and what needs to get left out.
Yeah. Did you ever read the comic?
I hope so.
No, right?
I have not read the whole comic. I can absolutely tell you that this show makes me want to.
Yeah. I think I'm in the same boat.
So back in the day, it's published by a comic book company called Image Comics, who are one of the bigger. They're a big publishing house, but they're independent. They're creator owned. So their characters are owned by their creators, not like with Marvel or DC, where Batman is always DC.
Yeah.
Or Superman is always Marvel, even though multiple people can write them. And Image Comics, every now and then they'll have a series like Invincible or The Walking Dead, or another one, Saga is called, where they do a really good job of just taking something you probably know, like a genre trope that in this case it's just the superhero genre, and they'll just go bonkers with it and do something that's totally like, you could only do this in a comic book. You couldn't do this in a big movie. It'd be too expensive to do.
Yeah.
And so even though I never read it, at least not all of it, I was always like, yeah, I can see this. I did get something wrong where I thought that it was that he had super strength and that he couldn't fly. I forgot that part. He can fly.
Oh, Invincible?
I missed that. Yeah. Because I remember a very, very long time ago, somebody was like, oh, it's about a comic book about a guy who's invincible and that's all he can do. And I'm like, that sounds interesting. What?
He can't die.
But that was probably like in 2003 when I heard that. So who knows? Who knows? But no, Robert Kirkman is absolutely he's a good guy for taking genres and finding the unique ways to retell those stories. Whether it's superhero stuff with Invincible or zombie stories with The Walking Dead, or like classic horror kind of like with Amazing Wolfman. He does that a lot. So that's definitely something he's good at, for sure.
Interesting crossover that he's kind of gone like full. I guess with this movie, he's gone full TV and instead of comics.
Well, when you finish something like The Walking Dead, which he did for, almost a decade, I think or more. He's
That's
probably
crazy
a
though.
little,
13 years on
yeah.
both. He was working on both simultaneously. That's the man likes to tell stories. I gotta give him props for that.
LMAO. All right. Do you want to get into
Any last
spoilers?
thoughts? Yeah. Any last thoughts before we start getting into more spoilers?
So generally, I would recommend the show.
Yeah,
I think the violence is something you should know beforehand.
Yep.
So
And it's very much an
by all
adult
means,
show. So if,
yeah.
there's F-bombs, there's hell, all kinds of stuff.
Physically hell, yes.
Well, also physically hell, but words like hell, and,
Yeah.
stuff. You know what I'm saying. There's curse words, and
We know what you're saying.
so
Yeah.
don't show this to your kids or kids in general.
Yeah, don't. This might have a little Deadpool effect. It looks colorful
This
and
is-
cheerful, but it's not.
This is 100%. I'm surprised this hasn't had a Deadpool effect.
Oh, wow. True. Not that we've heard of. What can you do?
Yeah. Cool. So let's go into our spoilers. So if you don't want to get
spoiler
spoiled, damn, I can't speak. If you don't want to get anything spoiled, you want to watch this show for yourself. Skip ahead, and we will get into our spoilers now. You've been warned. Okay. First episode. That ending, though.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Holy I think this is the I was not on board with this show until the end of the first episode, and I was like, what the F?
That's hilarious.
That is bananas.
So, in terms of the overall story structure, what I loved about the show is that the entire first season revolves around those murders. You're shown who does it in episode 1, but you don't find out why until the last episode.
Kind of like a reverse, right? Of like most mysteries, you always know.
Yeah, it's like
it's like CSI. You always know why they do it. You just don't know who did it.
Who? Yeah.
Whereas they decided to flip it, and I kind of liked it. I think I did like it actually.
You can have problems. I think if you had issues, it would be with the why, his actual explanation.
Yeah, no, and this is the issue I have with it only being 4 episodes instead of, or we should have gotten
8.
at least like another 4 more episodes.
Yeah,
because I hate when characters, they always give their motives in a long monologue, and I know this is a superhero show, and I know this is like a trope of superhero shows and movies.
Yeah.
But I feel like with a show that wanted to be different from superhero shows, whereas where it was with its violence or its portrayal of some of its characters and other stereotypes, I feel like they could have done something different with like the why, which is, he's a double agent.
More or less, yeah, double agent.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because we're led to believe that, I think the mom even says like, oh, when your dad came, he was a super straight edge guy and didn't even care about anything but, saving the world. And then just in a span of 10 minutes, we're led to believe like, oh, he doesn't care about any of this. Like, I don't know. That just didn't sit right with me. This is where I think we needed like another 4 episodes of them fighting or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or, like a flashback sequence. I don't know.
One of the things that kind of bothered me about the reveal was how a good twist, you can go back and you'll look for those scenes where it should have been obvious.
Yeah.
I feel like they kept this too well. It was too much of a secret. Because the obviousness in it was just like his general attitude towards things. It wasn't like, specific moments of him, on the phone being like, yeah, they don't suspect a thing.
Yeah.
This was just like, he was just a dick to everyone. And that was, if you were looking for that, then it was obvious.
Yeah. They tried to be a little too smart with it. And I don't think, because the thing about when you, build up a mystery or like a surprise is you need to build up to it. So that way when, like you said, they go back, you can see it. And it just, I don't know.
It didn't have that effect.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I will say this though, watching him have to lie, watching the so it's the dad character, Nolan Grayson. he murders these people, and the reason why he does it is because he's trying to purposely weaken the Earth for an invasion.
Yeah.
Which, as a concept, is cool. I think the problem with the twist is you don't really see him like do much planning for that invasion, or like there's no real build up to the reveal. However, watching him lie to everybody for 7 episodes, I'm like, this guy is hardcore, man.
Yeah.
He can keep a straight face in all these situations.
Also, I kind of had an issue because I don't feel like there was any animosity towards the Globe, the Guardians of the Globe, which I think is what they want it to be. But I feel like there should have been some sort of jealousy between Omni-Man or like contempt, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like,
well,
like when he goes to the White House, we see like a shot of them being like, oh, what is Omni-Man doing here? And that's all we get until they start fighting at the end. I feel like we could have gotten a scene of him in bed and the mom is like, hey, are you gonna go do anything? And he's like, why am I gonna go do anything? Or something like that. Like a small scene like that. It could have been like a 2-minute scene where it's just like, why am I gonna go help those dorks?
And I hate to say this too, but it's like that in the comics as well. Where it's like they're introduced and then they're dead like a chapter later.
Which sucks because they were all really cool characters. Like, I mean, like, I know they're based off of, the Justice League, so it's not, it's super on the nose, but I don't know. It would have been cool to have them for like another episode or something, like, because they were really well thought out characters. They were all diverse and they were all also like, they just look cool. They looked cool.
Yeah.
It was a cool. It's always, I like watching alternate superheroes because it's always cool to see something other than Batman, but like a different version of Batman. Like the Watchmen has the Owl, whatever his name is. So it's always cool seeing, to me anyways, it's always cool seeing that. I also feel like they kind of, I mean, I know this is based off of comics and I know that they're going to somehow do something with it. I kind of feel like they dug themselves into a deep hole with Omni-Man killing the Globe, the Guardians of the Globe. Narratively, I don't like I feel like they're gonna try and set it up to he can be redeemed.
Ooh, interesting.
And I don't know because he's a dick. Like he is not a nice person whatsoever.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And this is not me like knowing further ahead spoilers. I would disagree and say that I actually think knowing how the show wants to be seen, because it's kind of taking itself seriously in a way. At least just the way it takes itself seriously. I think they would actually purposely do the opposite, and they would purposely not redeem him. Because this is the kind of show where, like, if a superhero has to kill someone to save the day, the Joker doesn't get to live at the end of the movie. He has to die. And I think that I can imagine the show doing something where it's like, well, if you have to kill your dad to win the day, you better start finding his arteries. That's just what I think the show will do. I don't think they will redeem him. They'll do the thing at the end where he's about to die and he's like, I'm sorry for everything. They'll do that. But, he'll still have to die anyway.
I hope, because he's not a nice guy.
What did you think?
He's an interesting character, but he is not a nice guy.
Who was your favorite character?
Honestly, the mom is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I
almost wish she had superpowers.
Yeah, I was really feeling the mom in this, because we don't. The thing about this genre is we don't really see the impact that it has on civilians per se. All too much. Like obviously we get the damsel in distress, but we don't get like a third party, just someone who cares for their superheroes. And I don't know. I think it was kind of cool having like a motherly figure that's not Aunt May, 80 years old, and Spider-Man.
He always dying. Yeah.
Always having issues. Like it's kind of cool, and she's like, and she knows she doesn't have superpowers, and she's always willing to be like a therapist to Mark. I don't know. It was cool. I was really feeling the mom. I wasn't like, there was never a scene where it's like, oh my god, here we go back to the mom.
She was such a cool character. I almost wish she had superpowers so I could see her doing more stuff.
Yeah. Well, I know the moment. I mean, the first time we see her on screen, right, where she walks in on Mark on the restroom, she's like, "Listen, I've changed diapers. There's nothing I haven't seen before." I'm like, "This mom, this is amazing. I'm already feeling this mom. Like, this is so much different than every other superhero mom in existence. Like, she's giving back and forth with Nolan and Mark. I'm feeling it, and they have superpowers. Like, they could easily kill her."
But
I like the mom. I like the mom a lot.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite?
Yeah. No, I think I'd agree with you. I think. Okay, so in terms of what character was my favorite, I would definitely say the mom was one of my favorite characters. Debbie is her name, I think, right?
Yes.
I think the character who I wish I saw more of, or who I understood more, is Cecil.
Interesting.
Because he's also a character in a previous Kirkman comic, The Astounding Wolfman. He's a character in that comic. So he brings him back in this to play his role again. But just for what we saw in the show, I'm like, when are we going to get to this guy's backstory? When are we going to know what his powers are or why he does what he does? Because you know that Omni-Man is the killer from episode 1, it eliminates all other suspects. And so when they try to do this, like, oh, there's a secret government conspiracy theory, they're trying to get Omni-Man. It's like, well, yeah, because we saw him do it. So, like, what's the government's motives here? What are they actually trying to get out of Omni-Man?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if this doesn't make sense to you, but it's one of those things where it's like, they so clearly can't fight him, but yet they spend the entire show trying to get him.
Yeah, that whole dynamic between Cecil, Nolan, and the Damien, I think Damien Darkblood. Yeah, Damien Darkblood.
Yeah, Darkblood.
Where like they're all trying to frame one another. That's pretty good stuff, and that's why another reason why I wish we had at least 4 more episodes was just to see more of that. Like, oh crap! Like, well, there's blood at Damien Darkblood's apartment, but there's hair follicles on Omni-Man's mustache or something. Like one of the Guardians of the Globe's DNA was found on his mustache or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been cool to see. Like, just them always trying to one up each other. Because I mean, Cecil knows that Mark did it. Not Mark. God. Nolan. That Nolan did it. That Omni-Man did it. But it's trying to find out why he did it. That was really drove the whole season. It was so much fun to watch, kind of, him figure out, because we didn't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, they set up immediately that they know why, that it was him, but they're trying to figure out why. Yeah. I just feel like their actual search for why he did it was like the most pathetic. Like, let's just watch him from a distance instead of, like, actually capture him or incapacitate him or, blackmail him or do something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the only reason they didn't want to do that is because they didn't want to disturb the whole family. And I think they were also hoping that Omni-Man would slip up and be like on the phone or something. Talking to the Vilturiums. What are they called?
Don't worry about it.
Viltrumites. Sorry, Viltrumites.
There you go.
I think they were just kind of hoping to get him caught. Who's another character that I really liked? And this character could have been done really, really wrong, but it's surprisingly done really, really right. William. Invincible's best friend.
Yeah. What did you like about him?
I just like that he wasn't an annoying gay guy. Like, nothing against, gay people or anything like that. I have no issue with gay people. Do whatever you want. But, it's a lot of times characters in TV shows are so misrepresented as, when they're, like, I don't know. I just feel like they
Usually, if a straight writer is trying to write a gay character, they will either like hyper feminize them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. He was like, I mean, very much. He's obviously gay. I think we could tell that from the first scene because of he's talking about a guy. I think in the first scene, but he's not done. Like, he's not a He's not a super feminine or anything. Like he's fighting the demon or the robots with Invincible in the college episode. Like he's kind of a douchebag at times, especially when Mark is like trying to talk to him and he's just like, no, like, shut up. Like your life could be so much worse.
Yeah.
It's like, and then they have like a real bond. I think they have like a real guy bond between there's a real guy bond between
an actual friendship.
Yeah, Mark and William.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like that.
Yeah.
I really like that.
No, I see that. I think straight passing gay characters are usually not the norm because they're straight passing, and if you're not like aware that the character is supposed to be gay, then the fact that it's supposed to be LGBT representation can go over some people's heads. So I think just the fact that it's so uncommon to actually see it is, I mean, I don't want to say it's refreshing because I'm not gay and it's not targeted at me, so I don't really care one way or another. But definitely, for sure, I know that there are some people who are like, finally, a straight passing gay character.
Proper representation. Yeah.
For what they want to live their lives like. But then again, he is kind of a dick at some points.
Yeah.
I will say.
Yeah, no, definitely. He's a guy.
One of my favorite things
at heart, he's a guy.
did. One of my favorite things the show did, though, was how what was I going to say? How he reveals his identity to these his friends. What did you think about Amber as a character?
I did not like her. I really did not. I think she's so annoying. I don't know.
She's the annoying one, not the annoying best friend. But
yeah. And I mean, they're in high school, so like they don't know they're. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, they're supposed to be high school. Yeah, they're high school characters. They're immature, but like, she's always getting on Mark. So then Mark is like, all right, well, guess what? I'm invincible. And then she's like, you lied to me. It's like, dude, which one do you want? Like, he wasn't telling you the truth before. Then he finally told you the truth, and now you're mad because he was lying to you this whole time. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand that character. Yeah. I don't understand. I kind of understand why they got together, but it was a little shoehorned. I think they wanted to try and set something up with Eve, like an anti-Eve.
Yeah, I can see that. I think for me, and this is not me knowing spoilers that I might or might not already know, but I'm glad that it doesn't end with him and Eve.
No. Episode 8. I'm happy with that too.
I'm glad that Amber is still kind of included in it.
Yeah, I don't like Eve as a character. I mean, either, and it's kind of for the same reasons. She's a little bit annoying. She's very much like a angst teenage girl, and I don't know. I feel like we've seen that a lot in TV and movies. So I don't know. Not my favorite character. I feel like we could have done something more refreshing with her.
Well, I feel like they did something that at least I enjoyed watching, but I feel like it happened too quickly, which is her character arc went from like, I'm going to be selfish to I'm going to help everyone.
Yeah.
The problem is that it just happens in like 10 minutes in an episode. Yeah.
She stops a flood.
She gets yelled at by her parents, and she's like,
then bye. She's a cool person now. It's like, what?
Yeah.
It's like Spider-Man 2. We had a 30-minute montage.
Spider-Man 2. Anyway. So yeah, I think Eve is a good. I mean, I thought Eve is a good character as like a foil to Invincible. somebody who has been around for longer, who knows what it's like to be a superhero, the hard stuff they have to do. I just feel like her jump from, I'm going to save the day to I'm going to save the world it just happened too quickly.
Yeah.
And then it didn't really push Invincible. Because that to me was like, okay, Eve is going to say, I'm not just going to be selfish. I'm going to help people. With great powers comes great responsibility. I'm going to be responsible. The problem was that it didn't do anything to Invincible. He was just kind of like, oh, you're doing this now? Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go back to being a normal kid. And I'm like, no, that's your moment to be like, oh, yes, I can save the world too. And instead he is just like, no, don't do that. No.
I don't even want to be a superhero.
Dude, here's a drinking game for Invincible. Take a shot every single time Mark says, I don't know if I want to be a superhero.
I think you'd be blacked out by the third episode. I don't know if I want to do this. You might be blacked out by the end of the second episode.
Yeah, what can you do?
Yeah, and that's
how do you think about him?
That's. I feel like Steven Yeun went through the same 12 lines, and it was like, all right, we haven't hit a Q yet. Hit a Q. Hit one of the 12 lines, Steven.
They had like
Amber, I'm sorry. It's like, we've already heard that one, Steven. Give us another one. I don't want to be a superhero. Perfect. Let's put that one in. I feel like Mark Grayson isn't a fully fleshed out character yet, which is kind of interesting that a superhero show, the main character is arguably the weakest,
least developed.
Of all the recurring characters. He's very much a whiny brat. And again, I know they're in high school and I know they're supposed to be immature. I get that. I understand. But I don't know. For some reason, his character didn't really click with me.
He is subtly different in the comics. He's a little more assertive in the comic.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of my biggest issues watching the show, was that basically, imagine William, and that's just Mark Grayson in the comic. Whereas in the show, it was kind of like they made him almost more passive.
Yeah. And he's always getting his ass kicked. That's another thing that I thought was
that I
interesting.
appreciate. I didn't mind that, but I don't
think I minded it either, but I think it was interesting to see that every episode he's just getting whooped. Like, not just like he lost a fight or something. Like, he's in the hospital or he's bleeding. Like, he's effed up for a while.
Well, that's one of the things about the series that I appreciate the most is I appreciate when the show is like, okay, this character is the main character, but that doesn't mean they're the most powerful character.
Yeah.
And I think Invincible does that very well, because Mark loses pretty much every single fight.
I think he won 2 fights in 8 episodes?
Yeah.
Right?
He beat up one guy who got away, and then he beats up the dude in the sewer who ends up working for the government by the end.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's hilarious. What can you do?
You know what I liked about the show, though?
No, I appreciate
as far as like its portrayal of the superheroes. It was good teamwork. And I think DC has always had this problem where it's, superhero fights are supposed to be more than just, let's just beat them into a pulp. There's like actual teamwork that needs to be involved, especially when you're fighting everyone. I mean, we see this with the heroes of not the heroes, what are they called? Guardians of the Globe. The new ones. Yeah. And even the old ones. When they fight together, they fight as a unit. It's like the red guy, the red speedy guys running and taking all the civilians away, and the war woman is leading the charge and she's kind of giving out instructions. You got Darkwing kind of on recon and stuff. I think that's pretty cool. We see that a little bit in Avengers movie, but I think we see it full display in this series, which I enjoyed. I enjoy a lot when superheroes. The whole point of a team up is to team up. Cover each other's flaws and highlight each other's weaknesses. And I think the show does it well. I will say this personally. The show definitely does it well.
A big issue with a lot of comics, at least this has kind of always been an issue with comics, but more so it's really pronounced in this post MCU world, is that a lot of fight scenes themselves aren't really fight scenes. They're more just like background for conversation or for MacGuffins.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a issue I have, at least personally. And so I always appreciate where it's like, okay, now we're just going to get fighting.
Mhm.
Like, we're actually going to beat people up here.
Yeah.
But for the most part, yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from, where there's always like, they care almost too much about the plot devices and fight scenes. And all I want to see is just people beating each other up.
Yeah, which is why when I said earlier, like, it was nice to just watch a show that wasn't trying to be smart or anything. Just put it on and watch it. It's very refreshing.
Yeah, for sure.
Very refreshing.
How did you feel then? Okay, so you said you had issues with the structure overall of the story.
Yes.
What were some of those nitpicks?
I feel like the ending was rushed. I feel like
yeah, for sure.
Like,
Especially
go
here's the
from-
thing though. I'll say this. I'll cut you off and I'll say this.
yeah, say it.
The actual final episode was both really well paced and very jam packed with stuff in it.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I don't know if you felt that way, but when episode 8 was over and I was like, wait, that was all one episode? That was so much stuff at once.
Yeah. We didn't really get a time to kind of
Breathe.
sit and just kind of
Yeah.
digest everything that went down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like after the college episode, which I think is episode 5, 6. Yeah, 6. I feel like episode 6 onwards, it just felt like a lot kept going on. There's like a lot going on. I don't know. I just feel like, like I said, if they had 4 more episodes, we could have had, another episode of just kind of something as far as Invincible, like not Invincible, Omni-Man's ulterior motive.
Yeah. I feel like, if we had spent some of that, and I say this knowing that every single thing that we saw will come back again. All of those side quests and characters that were just there for like, half an episode, they all come back anyway. But I feel like some of that time could have been spent on the characters more. So, like, if we got a flashback for Cecil and saw where he was from, or, any amount of crack in Omni-Man's armor and his story and history would have been more informative than setting up some of those later characters.
Yeah, and it would have been nice also to see, like you said, a crack in his armor. Give us a scene when he's like being a super hard ass, and then we got one in the final episode, but it would have been nice to see like earlier in the season. Maybe like he's thinking about his wife and his son, and he's super hard ass with Cecil, and then he thinks about them, and he's like, okay, I'll chill out a little bit. It would have been nice to set that up before it happened, because I feel like there was a lot of payoff but no setup, especially towards the end.
Yeah. No, I feel that for sure. And
but again, it's the first season, so we can't really we can't be too much. Yeah, we can't be mad too much.
Yeah. And also, I mean, a lot of the show is about Mark and his dad and their relationship. Mm-hmm. And that's really where the story is. The show doesn't say that until the last episode. Mm-hmm. But when you think back to the rest of the seasons, really the most consistent storyline throughout the whole show is his relationship with his dad. And how he's always trying to get close to his dad, and his dad is always a little bit distant, a little bit further off. Yeah. You need to train more. You have to be a superhero. You have these responsibilities. And he's like, no, I just want to help you out sometimes. And then you get to episode 8, and he's like, okay, this is what your responsibility is going to be. And you're just like, it'd be like if somebody was like, okay, you're going to have to be responsible and get a dog. Here is Clifford, the big red dog. Good luck being responsible with that.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it was. So yeah, yeah. Now, in terms of stuff that I would love to see more out of, um, the character Robot was probably one of my favorite characters in the show.
Yeah, I was kind of sad that he has a real body now.
I was not. I was like, that's so cool. I did not expect that direction whatsoever.
That scene when he's switching bodies, that was surprisingly emotional.
I know. Seriously.
I have just seen this body come out, this little like basically Hunchback of Notre Dame body coming out. And I was like, man, I'm feeling something right now. Like this is, I don't know how you guys did this, but this is pretty good.
What I love about it too is that you know that Omni-Man is up to no good. So as they're showing you Robot doing stuff, and you're just like, this guy's up to no good. And then when they reveal what he's doing, you're like, that's kind of, it's almost a little noble.
Yeah.
Kind of appreciate.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was an interesting little sub storyline.
A little character arc, yeah, for sure.
How do you feel about him changing bodies for Monster Girl?
Oh yeah.
That kind of I don't know, that kind of threw me off a little bit.
Hey, remember, she's supposed to be like 20 something years old.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I don't know. It's just a little interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. I know it's a superhero show.
Yeah, so what can you do? I think though my least favorite characters in the show, in terms of a recurring character, the character Rexplosion is in probably every single like superhero children's show in existence. There's always that one character who's super cocky and never learns his lesson, but always learns his lesson, but he never learns anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know that this guy, I have more faith in Kirkman to do something with him. And this is not me knowing a spoiler that I may or may not already know. I have faith in Kirkman to, give him his day in the limelight. But for one season, I'm just like, someone snap this guy's neck, please. Don't want to listen to him.
Yeah, he was. There were times where I was like, this dude's funny. And then there were times where I was like, dude, this dude sucks. That's the nature of his character. It's
funny. Yeah, but it's a bad character.
Yeah.
I'm so sick and tired of seeing characters like that. I'm just like, dude, just shut up. How did you make it on this team? I thought you were supposed to be responsible people. Why did Robot let you on this team? That was my biggest issue, is that Robot is like, all right, we are the guardians of the globe. We are the most powerful and the most mature. Rexplosion, welcome to the team. I'm like, you would never let a person like that on that team in real life.
Yeah, no.
That guy's attitude, nah, he would not even make it past round one of
qualifying. Especially because he's so selfish. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. And I was like, that's, nah. You're only keeping him around so you can do something with him later. But, nah. Also, some of the villains that were shown, like the episode where he helps out the guy named Titan.
Yeah.
And there's this lion character who just like beats the living shit out of everyone.
Yeah.
And then just dips. I'm like, where's this guy going?
Why did he dip?
You can't introduce a character this powerful.
Yeah.
Just to have him leave.
Yeah, that was pretty. Yeah, there were a lot of decisions, like little decisions like that, where I was just like, is that the best choice?
Yeah. And I know it's not filler. I know because even though when I said this earlier that the show has no filler, and I complain about things that are loose ends, I know that the show doesn't have any filler. At least the comic does, so I know these characters come back. But I'm just like, it's so unsatisfying.
Yeah, definitely.
What the heck are you doing, my guy?
I would agree with that.
Overall. Now, I'm curious. I want to know this. Do you feel like in a post Game of Thrones world, we kind of appreciate darker and more violent stuff, or at least sometimes we think that content has to be edgy to be meaningful. Do you feel like this show kind of falls on the good side of that or on the bad side?
I think it's good because it's showing the weight of these superheroes' actions. Because I think the Marvel universe and the DC universe kind of almost to a fault
Brush it on.
glamorize.
Don't acknowledge it. Yeah,
what these guys actually do. I mean, we kind of see it a little bit in the MCU with
Civil War.
I think it's Civil War. Yeah, when the mom comes up to Iron Man and is like, "You killed my son." It's like, oh shit! Like we haven't seen this in a superhero movie before. But I mean, this show takes it.
You also don't get to see it in Civil War either.
Yeah, this show takes it to the extreme. I mean, I remember a scene. I think it's episode 3 when he teams up with the teen team. Invincible is trying to save a woman, and he grabs her, and then he rolls into a thing with her, and it turns out that she just broke her entire body. And it's like, oh crap! Yeah. Like Iron Man does that all the time, and nothing's wrong with him. Or Spider-Man will jump off a damn bridge with you, and nothing's wrong with you. And so it was kind of cool seeing, like, he tried to do something right, and he ended up doing something way worse.
Because that's definitely one of those things in superhero shows and movies where it's like they have to save civilians. Like, it's always implied civilians are getting attacked, but you never see anyone die. And in this show, it's like the streets are littered with the bodies. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, not even Man of Steel when he attacked Metropolis.
Yeah.
Did that.
Yeah, because usually when civilians die, it's a far away shot of a building exploding or something. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool that underlying assumption. The up close. It's kind of in the same vein of The Boys.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of The Boys too. Yeah,
the Amazon show.
Where I'm like, it's a little.
Yeah, and also like it was so interesting seeing the politics of superheroes. Like there's the whole government agency, but the superheroes don't really trust the agency and this and that, and kind of speaks to like how we don't trust our government nowadays. Kind of like how superheroes don't get along.
Yeah,
and they're always fighting. One of the most
interesting dynamics. Yeah,
it was pretty cool. I thought that was cool because MCU we see that, but at the end of the day they're always getting along. But it's like, in this show,
it's like
they're literally killing each other. So
pretty much, yeah.
It's kind
of cool. Superheroes are fighting with each other just as much as they are with the villains.
Yeah. So that was cool. It was cool to see.
Overall, all right. Do you have any further comments on the show? I think it was a pretty good show, and
I think it was.
Most of that is because I know that they're going to do more with it, and so I'm excited to see where it goes. Because I probably am going to read the comics before they come out with the season 2. I'm going to finish the comics, but I liked it. It's the kind of stuff I like.
Yeah, it was a good watch. I think if you are into comics, superheroes, or adult animation, I think this is right up your alley. And even if you're not, I would say give it a try. I think if you're not in tuned by the end of season 2, or episode 2, I think there's a lot they could do now, especially because they just got renewed for 2 more seasons. So, worth a watch, especially because it's only 8 episodes.
I feel like my only big concern with the show going forward is that they kind of narratively put themselves into a hole.
Yeah.
Where it wants to be a show, or it wants to tell the story of Mark Grayson becoming a superhero, but it has to tell the story of Mark Grayson fighting his dad. You know what I mean? Do you remember when we were shown Vinyl?
Yes.
And
this is what that reminded me of.
Yeah, he was like, once you kill that character, your rest of the show has to have this death over it now.
Yeah.
You can't take that back. that's kind of the same thing I felt with this, where it's like, well, you're gonna have to deal with that every episode now. The fact that his dad is gonna come back and murder his entire planet,
especially because it's a first season. Like, we still haven't fully explored the universe and gone into depth with the universe.
Yeah, and
So
the whole show basically contradicts itself. The very last line of the show, where they're on the moon, and the guy's like, "So what are you gonna do?" And then Mark Grayson is like, "I'm gonna finish high school."
yeah, and it's showing all the shots of the villains.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like,
I was like, what?
Hold up
This
here.
is a very anticlimactic.
what's the show about? Nah,
Yeah.
I know they can pull it off because the comic has, for as long as the comic has been around, people have been like, "This is well done." So I trust in Kirkman. But that was one of those things where I was like, "What? You're throwing too much here. Too much here. Too many cooks." I say,
Yeah.
too many cooks.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. I think that's a review of Invincibles, guys.
Season 1 of Invincible, would recommend. Unless it offends.
Yes, I would too. Any news or anything you want to give to the people
You
before
had
we
some
get out of
news.
here?
What was your news?
I had news. I didn't have news.
You had trailers. What were your trailers? Did you see the new Golden Knight trailer? Is that what it is? Or the Green Knight?
No, not Green Knight. It was Monsters Incorporated is having a TV show. Did you know about that?
What? Get out.
Yeah.
I wish I
Yeah,
did.
it's supposed to be after Monsters 2 or Monsters, sorry. Mike and Sully are supposed to be like these advisors to this new people who come in as the laugh monsters now, because it's the laugh floor.
Yeah.
Interesting. They brought back Billy Crystal and
John Goodman.
John Goodman. Sorry, Johnny Goodman, if you're listening. Yeah, I don't know. It
That's
was interesting. I saw that the other day and I was like, what? This can't be a thing. I thought it was a prequel again. And I was like, okay, I could see that. But it's a sequel series on Disney Plus.
It's one of those things where it's just Disney taking their property and doing what they want with it.
Yeah. iCarly's reboot. Are you watching it? Are you going to watch it?
No,
Should
I'm
we
not
do a
gonna
podcast
watch
on it?
That would require getting Paramount Plus. You don't want to do that.
I'm thinking about it. Dude, you can get it for a month though, for free.
I will say this though. That has been one of the interesting this side of streaming in this timeline. The fact that any old TV show
can get rebooted,
can just get resurrected from the dead it's all terrible anyway. No offense to people say Animaniacs was good, sure, whatever. Or the Looney Tunes, whatever, sure. But just the fact that people can point at a show and be like, that show was a meme.
should come back.
We want to make it back and make money off of that. That's so, like, I don't know. It's almost...
It's weird. We're in a weird age.
It's weird. It's so weird. I'm just like, what the heck? Who asked for iCarly? Just go watch the old episodes.
I kind of want to see what it's like because they're all grown up. So it's like a sequel series of sorts.
So then you got to see how that works out. Yeah.
It's going to fail miserably,
man.
but I just want to see how it goes.
You never know. Maybe they'll pull it off. No Sam, though, so that's a bit of a bummer.
That just kills it because she's basically the main character.
The only good character.
Yeah.
What can you do? I appreciated. Dude, underrated actor of my childhood was Jerry Trainer. That guy killed
He has
it.
not aged
He understood.
a bit. Holy crap.
He understood the assignment and everything.
He did not age whatsoever. It'll be fun to watch.
I know, seriously.
I think if I watch it. I don't know if I'm going to watch it. Probably. I probably will watch it. Who am I kidding?
Did you see... here's one I watched. Did you see Inside by Bo Burnham?
No.
His comedy special. Man, that's going to be one to watch. You got to see that.
He basically did a student film kind of thing where he did every single department.
Yeah, by himself.
That's all the IMDb credit. It was funny.
All in his room. It is... So, you liked 8th grade, but have you seen his comedy specials?
Nope.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay. He does a special kind of special.
Yeah, he puts on like a whole
No.
show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
all really unique to his style. So I don't even know if it would be best to like like watch his older stuff, like watch what or watch Make Happy. Like I don't know if that would be good or not. Um, Unless you were like super interested in what his progression is, then maybe. But Inside was pretty dang good.
Hmm.
As somebody who has watched Bo Burnham since and has followed him since then, his progression as a comedian, man. His first off, his songwriting is so much better in this special. Um, and the production. I mean, just as somebody who owns a camera, you just see the stuff that he does, and I'm just like, how the hell does he does this? How do you do
By
this alone
himself.
in your room? I'm not this creative.
Yeah.
What the heck? Why can I not be this smart? I will never be as creative and as smart as Bo Burnham, as he is with one camera in his room. Man, it's good stuff, dude. Like
Maybe I'll
one
check
of the
it
things
out.
I've always appreciated about Bo Burnham, I'll say this, and he has gone on record saying that he cares a lot about cinematography, and that's like something he is interested in himself.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's something you're interested, whether it's you or just any of the random viewers watching this, Inside is like an amazing lesson in just what one person can accomplish with like some pulsar lights and a camera. Pretty much. It looks amazing though. He's got a big brain, that man. But I would absolutely, if you liked Eighth Grade, you should watch his specials as well.
I'll have to check them out.
You gotta check him out. That's my recommendation of the week.
Can I ask you a question before we go?
Yeah.
Do you think Disney Plus and all these other apps, streaming apps, they're going to replace the box office within the next decade?
The box office? No, I don't think
Yeah.
so. I think they're going to replace cable, and I think we're just going to have cable with streaming services.
That'd be funny, right? Everybody's complaining about cable, and then they go and get all these bundles.
And then they just bundle up all your streaming services and have cable all over again. I know, seriously.
Yeah. I don't know, because I'm seeing a lot of movies go straight streaming services, and I'm like,
I think that's still a little left over from the pandemic.
this is an interesting trend.
I think it's still left over from pandemic. I mean, the pandemic's not over. I think we forget that sometimes. At least I forget that sometimes. But for sure, I think once we are at a level where we can confidently go out and not have to worry about the pandemic, I think the box office will come back. Especially, and I guarantee you know for a fact that Marvel or someone like that is going to release some big blockbuster movie, and they're purposely not going to put it on streaming. They're purposely going to say, go see this in theaters.
I don't know, though, because you can just say, we'll give it to you on the app, but you have to pay $25. And I think a lot of people would do that. Because we saw that. I mean, look, we're in a pandemic, obviously. But we saw that with Mulan, and I think we saw that there was another movie that did that too, where I was like, people are actually doing this? Like, this is such a waste of money. Like, just wait 5 months and it'll come out for free.
Oh, you're talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, right?
That might have been it too, but I just remember people, especially for a movie like Mulan, where people were actually paying the $20, $30 to watch it. And I was like, you can wait 5 months and it'll come out on the app again. Like, you don't have to buy it now. But people were still doing it. So that's making me think like, I feel like releasing new movies on the streaming app it's kind of here to stay. And I think it eventually will just, I feel like movies will just won't be at the theaters anymore. Cause like if I let's say I'm Marvel, right? Why would I split my costs of the movie the income that I make from the movie? Why would I split that right? Like movie tickets are what, $10, $12. So why would I split that in half? So six. So I would get $6 a ticket, where I can charge a family of four $30 and make, what is that, $7 roughly a person, a little bit more, a little bit less, and then I gotta pay the $10 a month. You know what I'm saying?
No, I totally I get what you're saying. And I yeah, some companies are too money focused that I can see them doing that. Because I should have said somebody like Christopher Nolan, who is absolutely like, you are only going to see this in theaters or I will kill you. Somebody like that, Martin Scorsese or what have you. I feel like there are still going to be those directors who will do that. And I feel like there's still going to be studios who will be like, this film, we'll put it in theaters. And then, I think what will happen is things will go to streaming faster. They will still get theatrical releases prior to being released on streaming. I just think the time between, because now what's basically happening is as soon as your film gets distributed, is also getting licensed for whatever services, It's basically now what it's not like, this movie comes out and then 6 months later it's on streaming. It's like it's out and then a week later it's on streaming. So I don't know. It's one of those things where maybe I'm just too hopeful, and I would still like to see things in theaters.
Yeah, I would.
Every now and then.
I hope that's not the case. Speaking of Nolan, somehow this story went under the radar in movie. Ooh. He's having issues with HBO not HBO. I'm sorry, Warner Brothers. They're apparently really contentious right now.
I guarantee you I guarantee you it's over something like releasing movies.
Oh no, 100%. It is. Because I remember HBO, not HBO. Warner wanted to do Tenet just on HBO Max, and Nolan was like, "No, we're gonna release this at the theaters." Like, what are you talking about? And apparently, it's a big issue. And Nolan, I guess, a couple months ago, came out and said that HBO Max is the worst streaming service of all time, or something like that. Yeah. So petty, it's I don't know, man. If he's on the free market,
he can produce his own movies.
At this point, yeah, but I'm saying like you could see a bidding war for some of his films, like the way Tarantino, way distributors act with Tarantino.
Yeah, true. That'll be interesting. It's hilarious too that like he just cares so much about that one thing. He would break off with one of his longest partners.
Yeah,
I mean, to prove a point.
That passion has pushed him into the stratosphere in modern cinema.
I know, seriously.
I can see it. It's just funny. It's Nolan though, right? It's not like some up and coming A24 director. No disrespect to A24 directors if you're listening, but like this guy's got like what do we say?
He has the money behind him.
What do we say? He had like $1.5 billion at the box office or something like that. $2 billion.
Yeah, something ridiculous.
I mean, he's got a name, so he can do this. He can do whatever. Watch him go to like Apple TV or something like that. That'd be funny. He pulls a Scorsese. He just needs funding for his movies.
That'd be hilarious.
I don't know. I thought that
would never live that down though. What can you do?
Any last thoughts?
Any last thoughts? No. I think I made it through this episode unbothered by my teeth pretty well.
Nice. Good. Yeah, my teeth got clean today, so they're feels a little raw. So I'm like messing with my teeth right now because they just got cleaned.
Take care of your teeth, people. Floss.
Yeah.
That's what I'll leave this episode on. Floss.
Make sure you floss, and not the Fortnite flossing. The teeth flossing. Well, that is James Harding. I'm Isaac Jimenez. This was Hit Play. Invincible. Season 1. Worth a watch. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You know the drill, guys. You guys have been listening, hopefully, every week. And we will see you next week. Have a wonderful weekend.